a split in the U.S. military and the government. The elite of the world rulers controlled the military, and they were the ones that made the deal with the Greys to allow the kidnapping and other things to go on. When certain other members of the military and the NSA, when they found out about it, the extent of it and how bad it was, they planned this mission. They knew they were only going to get one strike at it, and they knew for most of them that their heads would probably roll. Most of them did, under secret presidential order signed by Jimmy Carter. The NSA's Department Z, the newly established Delta Force, a specially hand-picked group of Air Force, SOC, Navy SEALs, and Army Rangers, were organized for a mission so secret that not even command officers were told what it was until the night of the attack. The only attack team leaders who knew what this would be about were the men involved in the NSA Department Z, who had been involved with the fight for years. As the attack began on the Dulce base, SCAP Link 2 came in on a tube train several levels underground. Cap 4 was going to hit with the SEAL team coming through a water intake as the main group made a small support hatch that would allow them to open another hatch to allow the SEAL team in. The human forces had to quickly find out where every base was that might react to an attack on Dulce, and how long it would take to send rescue forces. So everything, however, revolved around the success of Cap 3's attack on the main landing force, as they had removed the main security control room and the sonic weaponry systems that were controlled from there. They came racing in over the Badlands, and 5 miles behind it was the main assault force being flown in, heavy Air Force helicopter. The timing had to be perfect for the timely arrival of a large, disc-like vehicle that was known an expected cargo shuttle from space. Blanketing holographic projectors were turned off, and the entry blast doors were opened for the landing shuttle. They flew right in with the disc almost on top of it and started firing. At the same time, troops were coming in from the transport tubes in the different water supply vent and air vents and things like that. And the main control room was taken over. Houghton, the X-22, continued to use its rockets and ordnance directly at enemy weapons that were reported. As the men of Cap 3 were now taking heavy weapons fire from a number of directions at the landing port, they had disabled the main weapons pod in the sonic systems for the whole facility. That allowed the other teams to attack from different directions and locations. An alien security team had managed to close the main doors into the central hub. The first 2 men who attempted to get explosive close enough to damage the huge door were cut down by enemy fire. Taking heavy damage, the X-22 rolled forward and from less than 40 yards fired in remaining rockets. The resulting explosion blew the doors open and killed anybody on the other side of it. They sent in Mark Richardson's force to shut down the X-22 because the engines were overheating. He took command of one of the Cap 3's attack teams and led the attack through the still-smoking entry into the main central hub. The other teams were attacking from the other directions. The multi-level facility at Dulce, with its central hub, was controlled by a base security force. It proved far more extensive and complex than the human attackers had been ready to cope with in the original plan. The guy that had tipped them off on the inside, Thomas Costello, had an Ultra 7 clearance, and that gave him clearance into the first 7 levels. When they got there, they found out it was much more than 7 levels, since most of the aliens were supposedly on levels 5, 6, and 7, but there were more. There was also a vast network of shuttle connections under the ground than expected, extending into a global network that had not been reported, providing escape routes and entry ports to rapidly deploying additional security forces that had not been expected. They were not ready for what they found on level 6. Reports of multi-armed, multi-legged humans in cages and vats. Humanoid and creatures as tall as 7 feet. As the aliens had learned a great deal about genetics, both useful and frightening, and most of it had been learned at the cost of human suffering and lives. Captain Leathers Blythe had reached level 7 first, blowing the main hub entrance open, neutralizing the security force with extreme prejudice in less than 45 seconds. On entering the security station, they realized the extent of the facility for the first time. What they did was they came into the control room, and it was like a studio with multiple monitors. They actually had 62 different monitors. They were almost like a holographic monitor. What they saw was they had the facility for watching and controlling over 30,000 captives on that level alone. Captain Leathers took to the scene of horror that are impossible to express in words, a zoo of human beings in various states of health and mental condition. Images of women being tortured at that very moment. Once they realized the extent of the facility and the number of people there, Captain Richards was given permission to extend the operation, even though it would become more and more dangerous as more troops were brought in through the shuttle tubes. Thousands of aliens trying to kill us, thousands of women screaming for help. Thousands more far gone, so far gone, we knew that we'd have to leave them behind. Thousands of enemy troops arriving on subway trains, and we were not set up for a mass evacuation. So they started loading girls into the tube train and shooting them off as soon as we knew our forces were in control of the stations at the other end. We blew 2 air shafts wide open, so 2 squads could get girls out that way and into the fresh air where hopefully our people could pick them up. Since Cap 4 took a beating, as they fought to keep reinforcements from entering the subcube station. There was no doubt in his mind. He'd said he'd stayed in the facility for too long, but at the time it was very hard to leave these poor women behind. You knew that everyone that you failed to send out in front of you was going to die, and soon. At exactly 1 hour when the X-22 had first attacked at the main port entry, they were given the orders for a full recall. The retreating attack team had taken control of some of the alien craft and did a reverse engineering after they captured them or shot them down, or had given them the technology, whatever, but David Briggs and Ari Nair had by then managed to get 2 alien aircraft airborne, 1 disc craft and 1 highly advanced triangular attack craft. It's now at this point they were running for Area 51 for their escape. The human attack teams were now joined behind walls of smoke and set explosions. One of the frightening bits of equipment that one of the teams had found, but had been forced to leave behind, was a type of cell electrostatic disruption device called a CED. It was a weapon set to disrupt the cells of a human creature at a subatomic level. To make sure there was no survivors left in the facility, the device was set by the MAT technicians to go off shortly after the full withdrawal of the attack teams. At 72 minutes, 14 seconds after the attack started, the X-22 battlecraft and the princely markets cleared the landing port blast doors and dashed for safety. Explosions from dozens of set bombs began to blow up enemy craft as they took off. 35 seconds after they cleared the doors, the CED device was set off, causing every life form, alien and human, left inside the facility to be demolecularized at the subatomic level. Only a few in the heavily shielded lower levels survived. The human female survivors were taken to several top-secret military bases. They were deprogrammed and rehabilitated so they could be farmed back into society with no memory of what they had suffered.